Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Robert Adams, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Jesse Page. We warmly welcome the family of Gunner Thomas Walter Jones, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, I now invite you to please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who've given their lives for us during war and on operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to gunner Thomas Walter Jones. Thomas Jones was born on the 27th of June 1894 in Canberra, South Australia. Known as Tom, he was one of 8 children born to Edwin Henry Martin Jones and his wife Ellen, though 3 died during early childhood. The family lived in Canberra throughout Tom's childhood. He attended the local primary school before finding work as a labourer in and around the town. Thomas enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 11th of November 1914 in Morfettville on the outskirts of Adelaide. He was allocated to the 16th Infantry Battalion. After 3 months of initial training, Private Thomas Jones left Melbourne on the troops ship Ceramic. Tom arrived at the Australian camps outside Cairo in Egypt in early February 1915 and continued combat training. On the 12th of April, the battalion left Egypt for the Greek island of Lemnos, where preparations were underway for the planned landing on the Gallipoli Peninsula. Thomas landed at Anzac Cove in the late afternoon of the 25th of April 1915, and the 16th Battalion began to establish tenuous defensive positions in the rocky landscape. After 3 months on Gallipoli, Thomas was evacuated to hospital in Mudros, suffering from diarrhoea caused by dysentery. When his condition failed to improve, he was transported via hospital ship to England. He remained in hospital in England until late October, when he marched into the Australian Infantry Depot to prepare for his return to Egypt. Tom arrived in Alexandria from England on the 15th of January 1916 and rejoined the 16th Battalion on the same day. He had been with his unit for 5 days before he was admitted to the 4th Field Ambulance in Ismailia. Upon being admitted to the 4th Auxiliary Hospital at Abbassia, Thomas was diagnosed with mumps. He spent the next 6 weeks recovering before returning to the 16th Battalion at Tel El Kabir. In mid-March, Tom was transferred to the 4th Divisional Artillery, which provided artillery support to the Australian 4th Division. He was allotted to the ammunition column before being mustered as a driver at the end of May. In early June, the artillery departed Egypt to join the British Expeditionary Force on the Western Front. Thomas arrived at Marseille before moving to the Somme Valley with his unit. He passed the next few months providing support for the 4th Division on the Somme, helping to move ammunition from storage in the 3rd line to the front. He attended trench mortar school for 2 weeks in September and was appointed to the rank of gunner on the 26th of November 1916. While on leave in early 1917, Thomas was again admitted to hospital. He spent the next 45 days at the 51st General Hospital in Itapola. Having returned to the ammunition column in mid-April, Tom was found guilty for travelling without a pass while on active service and was awarded a week of field punishment number 2. In mid-May, he was transferred to the 10th Field Artillery Brigade and taken on strength of the 39th Battery based near Ypres in Belgium, supporting the fighting around Flanders. Tom ran into trouble with the military authorities again in early August 1917 when he was caught drinking on active service. He was fined and temporarily confined to the barracks, but was soon amongst his friends in the 39th Battery. By October, Thomas's unit was based around Zonnebaker and Chateau Wood, providing artillery support for the nearby infantry battalions. On the 11th of October, Tom was busy running guns up to the battery's new position outside Chateau Hill. As he was en route, a German shell exploded close to his position. According to witnesses, shrapnel from the shell smashed Thomas's right arm and pierced his heart, killing him instantly. He was 23 years old. Due to heavy enemy shelling in the area, Thomas's body was in the open for 3 days until it was safe enough to bury him. His final resting place was marked with a small wooden cross on which his name and battery details were penciled. After the war, it proved impossible to locate Tom's hastily marked grave. Today, he is commemorated on the Meningate Memorial alongside the names of over 6,000 Australians who died while serving in Belgium and who have no known grave. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my right amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Gunner Thomas Walter Jones, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.